Takados, Masechet, Taanit, Bet Amud Aleph. The way that I decided to add on to the program, so that way we have a little bit more spice, is that I'm going to give you again a quick chazara on that which we already learned. And therefore, we're going to do again a quick chazara on the Mishnah. And right away, we're going to the Gemara. Okay, so one more time. Mishnah says on the Bet Amud Aleph, we speak about Gevurot Geshamim. When are we going to mention Mashiva Ruach Umorida Geshem? Now here the Gemara the Mishnah is now going to say, when do we mention Gevurot Geshamim? Machloket between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua. Rabbi Eliezer comes and he says, when do we start mentioning Yom Tov Arishon Shel Chag? When does Rabbi Yoshua say Yom Tov Acharon Shel Chag? Right? The first day of Sukkot or the last day of Sukkot? Remember the last day of Sukkot is Shemini Aseret. Okay, that's the last day of Sukkot. Comes now Rabbi Yoshua and he attacks, he's asking questions on Rabbi Eliezer. And he says, question number one, if right now it rains on Sukkot, is it something good or something bad? It's a klala, siman klala. So if it's going to rain on Sukkot, it's a siman klala. Why in the world would you mention Mashiva Ruach Umorida Geshem? Remember, the second you mention Mashiva Ruach Umorida Geshem, what happens? All of a sudden, it starts raining. Yeah, it starts raining, right? That's what happens. So the question is, what's going on exactly? Why would you mention it, right? Now, why? Because the second that you mention it is if that you're asking for it. So answers Rabbi, right, Eliezer. He says, what are you talking about? I never said to ask, which means to ask for rain. I only said to mention it be'onato, in the proper time, which is on Sukkot. So that's the proper time. Perfect. Second question, says of Yoshua, according to your reasoning, if you're only just coming and you're mentioning it,
only on season,
so then you should do it all year round. All year round, right? In the kites, and do it all year round. You should come and you should do it. Not only just now, do it all year round. So answers, there's no answer. The answer is going to be in the Gemara, right? This was the dialogue between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua. Now comes a new topic that we said was actually a new Mishnah. It was actually a new Mishnah in the Mishnayot. Meaning, if you take the Mishnah, it's a new Mishnah. And the Mishnah says that this is what we explained, that according to everybody, whether it was according to Rabbi Eliezer or Rabbi Yoshua, the 10 Talomatali Bracha, you could only ask for it at the proper time. So that's according to everybody. That's according to everybody, right? Only B'samuch legeshamim. That's what you're going to ask. Now comes Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda comes and he says, listen, you should know, right? We only mention the times, the date. When you start, right? The entire concept of Mashiva Ruach Umorida Geshem. Which tefillah do you start? Which tefillah do you start? So which tefillah are you going to start it? So you're going to start it. It says like this: Yehuda Omer biyom tov acharon shel chag, yom tov acharon shel chag, which is Shemini Atzeret, which means that he's obviously going like Rabbi Yoshua, and that's also how we paskin like Rabbi Yoshua. We do it on Shemini Atzeret. Hacharon, which is Musaf Maskir. Harishon eno Maskir. So the last one is going to mention it, which is the one of Elifnei Teva, the one that's doing Shliach Tzibur. He mentions it. The Rishon, the first one, is not going to mention it. Comes now, right? The Yom Tov Rishon Shel Pesach. Ha'achar Arishon Maskir, ve'acharon eno Maskir. This was the chazara that we did for. We're starting now the new daf, right? We're talking about now. It's not a new daf. It's the new Gemara. Remember when it says Gimel Mem, it's Gemara. I'm going to give you an overview of the Gemara, just so that way you understand what is going on, and then we will learn it inside again. Remember that the Gemara, right, when we already gave this in the introduction yesterday, is that we took it for granted that we have to mention Mashiva Ruach Umorida Geshem. And the question is, how do you know that it's an obligation? First, you have to tell me you have to say it. And then afterwards, you tell me, by the way, when do we say it? So the Gemara is going to ask, why are you taking it so for granted that we have to say Mashiva Ruach Umorida Geshem? Well, who told you have to say it? That all of a sudden now we're asking the Mishnah, Me'ematai, from when do we say it? Oh, when? Whoever said you have to say it, Bichlal? So that's what the Gemara is going to ask. The Gemara is going to answer that we are going back to Masechet Berachot. We're starting the Daf Yomi process again, and we're going back to Masechet Berachot. In Masechet Berachot, we learned over there that what do we add in certain tefillot? So there it spoke about Mashiv Ruach Umuni the Geshem in Mechayametim. It's going to talk about Chonen Adat, the Havdalah. It's going to speak about Beten Talamata Libracha in Barech Alenu. So therefore, it speaks about different parts. So therefore, the Gemara answers, our Mishnah is really focusing on Berachot. In Masechet Berachot, we already told you that you have to add in Mashiva Ruach Umuni the Geshem in the Gemara. So therefore, this Mishnah is going back to Masechet Berachot. So the Gemara challenges that and says, Ribono Shel Olam, where is Berachot? In which seder? Zraim, the first one. That's the only one, actually. It's in Zraim, is the only one that we learn in Zraim, actually, if you pay attention. The only Masechet that we have a Gemara in Zraim is Berachot. So we start Berachot, and all the rest, the Mai, all the other, that's only Mishnayot. We don't have Gemarot. We are only learning the Gemara of Berachot. Berachot is the only one in Zraim. If you take a Mishnayot of Zraim, here you have Mishnayot, right, of Aleph. Look. Here you have Zraim Aleph. Zraim Aleph, you have Berachot, Peah, Demai, Kilaim, Shvi'it. That's only going to be in Aleph. You're going to take the next one, which is going to be in Bet. Zraim Bet, you have, in Zraim Bet, you have Trumot, Masrot, Maaser Sheni, Chala, Orla, Bikurim. All things are Mishnayot. There's no Gemara. Gemara is only Berachot. Okay, the only thing. Okay, fine, no problem. So we have what we call a Gemara. The Gemara is, Berachot is the only Gemara in Zraim. Meaning we start one seder of Zraim, okay, which has to do with the plantings. And after Berachot, we're done. There's nothing left. Okay, you're with me? Fine. So now what happens is as follows. After that, we start Moed. Moed will start, right, where we have whether it's going to be Shabbat, Shekalim, right, Eruvin, Pesachim, and then we have all the other ones. Sukkah, Rosh Hashanah, Yomah, Chagiga. All Chagiga was the last one that we just finished yesterday. That finishes off Seder Moed. So you have Zraim, Moed, and now we start Nashim. Zman, Nakat. Zraim, Moed, Nashim, Nezikin, Kodshim, Taharot. Those are the 6 Shisha Sidre Mishnah. So you have Zraim, which is Brachot. Okay, then you have Moed. So the Gemara comes and says, Aywa, you're telling me now you're waiting until Taanit, which is towards the end of Moed, to come back to Masechet Berachot? Why did you wait such a long time? What's going on? It doesn't even make sense. So the Gemara says, you're right. We're not going back to Berachot. You know we're going back to? To Rosh Hashanah. What is the Masechet before Taanit? Rosh Hashanah. And there in the Masechet Rosh Hashanah, we spoke about different times of the year that we're being judged. Judgment Day. When is Rosh Hashanah? There is a Rosh Hashanah. There is a time of judgment on Sukkot. What are we judged on Sukkot? Alamayim, on the water. So therefore, it's obvious that if we're going to be judged on the water on Sukkot, what are you going to ask for? You're going to mention water because you want to mention Mashiv Ruach Umuni the Geshem for water. That's the only thing that you're going to do. So it's obvious. So therefore, says the Gemara, we're not going back to Berachot. Really, what we're doing is we're going back to Rosh Hashanah. That makes sense because it's also the middle of Rosh Hashanah. And in the middle of Rosh Hashanah, there's a previous Masechet. In Moed, here it comes and it's going to mention the entire concept that we're going to be judged on water. And therefore, we're going to come and we're going to pray for the water. So now it makes sense. Fine. With that, we finish. Okay? That was the first part of the Gemara. Okay? The next part of the Gemara, right, is going to be something a little bit different. But if you want, in order not to lose the train of thought, we're going to read that little piece. We'll read that little piece, and then I'll go to the next part outside. Okay? And then we'll go through it. Okay? Or you prefer to do it everything now? Outside.
Everything now.
What? Piece by piece. Piece by piece? Okay, very good. So piece by piece. Says the Gemara, Tana hecha kai diktani me'ematai. The Tana, remember that the authors of Mishnayot are called Tanaim. Authors of the Gemara are called Amoraim. A Tana or Matnitin, Tnan, is a Mishnah. Okay? And the Braitot are for the Amoraim. So therefore, says the Gemara, Tana, our author of the Mishnah, Heicha, where Kai, is he standing? Where is he? Tiktani me'ematai, that he's learning me'ematai, from where? What does that mean? That means to say is, why is it so obvious to come and tell me that we have to mention Mashiva Ruach U'Monida Geshem, which is Gevurot Geshamim? Where is he? Where's he going off from? Meaning, when you start a Masechet, right, you usually have an introduction, right? The art scroll always has an introduction at the beginning explaining to you what's going on. I gave you an introduction to Masechet Taanit. You get an introduction. The Mishnah starts off, where do you mention Gevurot Geshamim? Where's where? Where are you coming from? You tell me where. First tell me. I'm going to tell you, by the way, Wednesday night, right? What's it called? Fuego, 8:00. But what? Where? What? Yeah, explain. Give me an introduction, and you're going to tell. Then afterwards, I'm going to tell you you have to come. Then you make sense. But I have to give you the introduction. So says the Gemara, Tana hecha kai, diktani me'ematai. Our Tana, where is he exactly going off of that he's teaching you me'ematai? So he says, right? Tana hatam kai. He says, no, our Tana is over there. Where's over there? Tiktani, because we learned, okay, mazkirin, givurot, geshamim, betchiyat, hametim. So we learned over there, right, that we mentioned givurot, geshamim in techiyat hametim, veshoalin, bebirkat hashanim. We do she'ela, which is the 10th alamata livracha, in birkat hashanim, vehavdala bechonen hadat, and havdala in chonen hadat. Now, if you're going to ask me, why does it change this order, right? Because exactly, right? But very good question. 1 minute. Yeah. Uktani, and we learned me'ematai maskirin givurot keshamim. So therefore, we learn over here. So when do we mention givurot keshamim? Which means, right? Since we're going back on berachot, now how do you know what the daf is of berachot? If you look, there's a little tiny bet by Diktani. There's a little tiny bet over there. There's like a Rashi bet. That little Rashi bet, no, takes you to Mesoret Hashas. Mesoret Hashas is on the top right. Mesoret Hashas. You see that little tiny bet? It says Sham. Sham means Ibid. You know what Ibid means? Ibid means you go up to the one before it. In English, it's Ibid. In Hebrew, it's Sham. Right? Ibid, Lamed Gimel Amud Aleph. Right? It says over there, Lamed Gimel Amud Aleph. So 33a. So therefore, okay, so here it says no, Lamed Gimel, there's a dot. There's one dot. That's Amud Aleph. If there's two dots, it's Amud Bet. Bashas. So therefore, Masoret Shas teaches you where are you going in Shas in order to know what you're doing. Okay? No. So here we just said it's Berachot, Lamed Gimel Amud Aleph. So therefore, that's how you know it's Berachot. So again, one more time. Tana hecha kai diktani mimatai. Ask the Gemara, where is our Tana that he's coming and just giving it as if it says that we already know that it's talking about me'ematai, from where? So he says, Tana hatam kai. Our Tana is over there. What does it mean over there? He says, Maskirin givurot geshamim betchiyat hametim. We're going to mention givurot geshamim in tchiyat hametim. Veshoalin bebirkat hashanim. We're going to ask, v'ten zman talivracha bebirkat hashanim. Ve'avdala bechonen hadat. And Avdala and Chonen Hadat. Uktani. Now we learned me'ematai maskirin givurot geshamim. When are we going to mention givurot geshamim? Velitzni hatam. So right, nekuda. Okay. And therefore we come and we said me'ematai maskirin givurot geshamim. Nekuda. Right there you have a dot. Okay, because that was the question and the answer. We asked, where are you coming from? We answer Masechet Berachot. Capish? I just said. Right? Tana hecha kai diktani me'ematai. Where is our Tana that we're talking about from when? So Tana hatam kai, it's over there in Berachot. Diktani was we learned maskirin givurot geshamim mitchiyat hametim v'shoalim b'birkat hashanim v'avdala b'chonen hadat. Diktani, and therefore we mention me'ematai maskirin givurot geshamim. So ask the Gemara now. Velitzni hatam. Why didn't we learn it over there? Over there in Berachot. Meaning, why did we wait from Berachot, which is in a completely different seder? It's completely different Gemara.
Before, isn't it?
Exactly. So why did you have to wait? Imagine right now you're in Berachot. I just told you about Givurot Geshamim. And now you're going to wait until the middle or the end of Seder's Moed to come and to start telling you Me'ematai Maskirin Givurot Geshamim. What's going on exactly? Velitni Hatam. Why don't we learn it over there? My Shna de Shavke Adhacha. Why is it that we left it until there, until here, basically? Adhacha, hacha is here. Okay, hatam is over there, hacha is over here. So Maishna, what is the reasoning why to Shafke that we left it adhacha until here? Okay. Maishna. Ah, the second answer. Ela tana mirosh Hashanah salik. But rather we were coming from Rosh Hashanah. Meaning our Tana of our Mishnah is really coming back from Rosh Hashanah. Titnam, as we learned in a Mishnah. Uvechag nidonim alamayim. On Rosh Hashanah, we're going to be judged on the water. Okay? On Sukkot. On Sukkot, we're going to be judged on the water. Okay? So therefore, since the ID, the Tana, uvechag nidonim alamayim, so the fact that we just told you that on the Chag, you're going to be judged on the water, and this is in Masechet Rosh Hashanah. Tana me matai maskini givurot keshamim. So therefore, we're coming and we're learning, when do we mention givurot keshamim? But since we're already judging, we're being judged on the water, so we're going to learn, when do we mention about givurot keshamim, which is on the water. Okay?